It's not an iPad 5, nor is it called a new iPad. Apple's latest and greatest 10-inch tablet has taken on a completely new name, the iPad Air. This term is meant to describe the fact that it's much thinner, shorter, narrower, and most importantly, lighter. The Air has shed close to half a pound from last year's iPad, which puts it at only a pound. And yes, it does make a huge impact in comfort. The weight difference, in fact, is something we noticed as soon as we started using it. And not only that, Apple's done a good job of building a light tablet without making it feel cheap. The Air uses a unibody aluminum build, just like its predecessors, but it takes many of its design cues from the iPad mini rather than previous generations. This means that you'll see chamfered edges, smaller bezels, and steeper slopes on the sides. To say these changes in the Air's design and size are noticeable is an understatement. Of course, its design isn't the only place in which Apple made large improvements with the Air. It's also more powerful underneath the hood, largely due to Apple's A7 processor. This processor promises 64-bit compatibility and twice the performance power as last year's iPad. Now, let's say you're a casual user, you may not be able to see a huge difference, but with a keener eye, it's definitely more speedy. For example, everything renders and loads faster, most graphic-intense games appear smoother, and we never had any problem with lag. You'll also get Apple's M7 motion tracking coprocessor, which features the same benefits that we enjoyed on the iPhone 5S. These features include power efficiency, and the ability for apps to interpret and act upon motion sensor data, something which comes in handy when you're driving in the car or even walking. One feature that didn't carry over from the iPhone 5S is Touch ID, Apple's fingerprint scanner. We're not quite sure why it wasn't included on this or the new iPad mini, but we have a feeling it will show up in the next version of both devices. The rear camera stays the same at 5 megapixels, while the front-facing camera is now backside illuminated. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to take advantage of the same imaging features as you'll find on the 5S, such as burst shots, panoramic mode, slow-mo video, or even filters in real time. Last but not least, the battery is smaller, but the Air's overall battery life was roughly the same, if not better, than last year's iPad. Our video rundown test, which plays a movie on endless loop at fixed brightness, showed that the Air could last longer than 12 hours. This result was better than Apple's 10-hour claim, and with heavy use we were able to get a full day and a half out of it before it died. Now, if you're more of a moderate or light user, then you'll certainly be able to get a lot more time out of it. Needless to say, we're confident most users will be more than happy with the Air's battery life, even though it is a bit smaller technically. It shouldn't be any surprise that the iPad Air is the best iPad we've reviewed so far, though we have to wait and see how the new iPad mini with Retina display performs before we can make our final judgment. It's one of the best 10-inch tablets on the market, but it's not the cheapest. The baseline model starts at $499 for a 16GB Wi-Fi only version, and you can go as high as $929 and get the 128GB model with LTE. The Nexus 10, on the other hand, which happens to be another one of our favorite tablets, starts at $399. Although it doesn't have the wide range of configuration options that the Air has, so keep that in mind. There are tons of other tablets on the market now, and ultimately there's plenty of factors to consider, such as your preferred operating system, LTE, price, battery life, storage capacity, and how it feels in your hand. So you're going to want to weigh which factors are the most important to you. This is only a brief review of the iPad Air, but we cover a lot more ground in our in-depth review, which can be found at Engadget.com.